Hey everyone, it's Ashpreet, and today let's build out AutoRag with Llama 3. Today we'll give Llama 3 running on Grok long-term memory backed by Postgres database, knowledge backed by pgvector, and tools to search the web, send emails, trigger workflows, etc. So when the user asks a question, Llama 3 decides whether to search its knowledge, memory, the internet, or make an API call, and then answer with that context. This is how the app looks like. We're going to give it a blog post and then ask questions from the blog post or the internet or its chat history. So let's start with what did Meta release? So over here, what we want is we want the Llama 3 to search its knowledge base for this information and then give an answer. Let's see how it fares. Now, Grok does not yet support streaming with function calls. So we're going to get the answers without streaming, but it's not too bad really. Grok is pretty fast. So it did search its knowledge base, gave us the right answer. Now let's ask what's happening in France. Over here, we're expecting Llama 3 to search the internet and then give the answer. Now there's a small possibility it'll search its knowledge base, but let's see what the model does. Okay, it searched the internet and gave a very nice answer about the latest from France. And then we'll say, summarize our conversation. And over here, it'll search its chat history, or we also provide the last 2 3 messages in the messages list, so it might just give directly from that. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it did search its chat history and gave us the right answer. So this is how autonomous RAG works to answer questions. The model will decide, depending on the context, whether it needs to search its memory, knowledge, or execute a tool call. Uh, Now let's show step by step how you can run this yourself. The code for AutoRag is under the FileData repo, so you can fork and clone this repository and go to the cookbooks folder for the code for this. So under the cookbooks, you can find the code under LLMs, Grok, and AutoRag, where we have step-by-step instructions how to run autonomous RAG with Llama 3 and Grok. After you've cloned the repo, open it up in the code editor of your choice. I'm going to stop the existing application, so I'll show you step by step how to run this. So open it up in the code editor of your choice under cookbooks, LLMs, Grok, and AutoRag, where the README has step-by-step instructions with everything. After that, fire up your favorite terminal and first create a virtual environment where we'll install our dependencies. Then export your Grok API key you can get from console.grok. And then we'll either use Llama or OpenAI for embeddings. So if you want to use local embeddings, you can run Llama run nomic embed text and use local embeddings for embedding the documents, or you can just use OpenAI. I normally just prefer the latest, their small embeddings model. So you can export the OpenAI key, then install the libraries, run the Postgres database, which also has pgvector. It throws an error for me because it's already running, but for you, it'll run the pgvector container using Docker, then run the application with Streamlit, and there it is. So over here, you can add a PDF if you like, or you can drop in a URL. I'm going to just drop in this URL, and we'll ask questions from it again to see how AutoRag works. So again, to sum it up, with autonomous RAG, the model decides whether to search its memory, knowledge, or tools. Let's see what happens behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, our application is running by this app.py file, which is the Streamlit application, which is running the assistant from the assistant file. This is where the magic happens. So the first we'll see, it takes the embeddings model, it takes the LLM, it shouldn't be LLM model, it just should be LLM ID or name or something. And then it creates an assistant where we give it description, instructions, and a bunch of tools to access the memory, knowledge, or API or the internet. We'll give it a bunch of tools. So the description is, you're an assistant that answers question by calling functions. So we're letting the model know that to answer questions, you need to call functions. Then we're guiding it through a set of instructions. We're telling it the flow it should follow. We're saying first get additional information about the user's question. You can either use a search knowledge base tool to search your knowledge base or DuckDuckGo search tool to search the internet. So we're telling it you can either search your knowledge or search the internet. Over here, we'll just play with a few tools here. You can add tools to search your favorite to make API calls here, to send emails here, to query a database. Now we're saying if the user asks a question about current events, so if we ask what's the latest about Llama 3 or what's happening in France, so that's a current event question, use the DuckDuckGo search tool. Otherwise, it would search its knowledge base for that. If the user asks to summarize the conversation, use get chat history to get the chat history with the user. So describe a few use cases, and that's how we guide the model. We steer the model on what to do. Then we say process this information and provide a clear and concise answer to the user. So we don't want it to give like long, lengthy answer. We want it to be clear, concise, to the point. And then finally, I've noticed that a lot of times Llama 3 will say, here's the answer, or according to the information provided, or according to the search knowledge base tool. We want to give it instructions to not say that and just respond directly to the user. Then we are going to say show tool calls. So we want to see the tool calls that's happening. If you're building an application with this, you'll probably not use this. Then we're going to add a default function to search the knowledge base. So if you're adding a knowledge base, you can give any Phi Data Assistant search knowledge true, and it'll add a function call to search the knowledge base. Then you can give, similarly, you can say read chat history as true as well. Each Phi Data Assistant comes with built-in memory that you can store to a database using the storage class, but built-in memory is always there, which is available through the session. So this read chat history adds a function to read the assistant memory. And then finally, we're giving a DuckDuckGo tool, but you can give a tool to query Yahoo Finance, OpenBB, or any of the hundreds of tools which Phi Data supports. And then finally, we are adding some chat history to messages. You can turn these off if you like to just save on context. But given this assistant, now let's ask some questions. Again, we'll ask, what did Meta release? And after this, I'm going to ask a question which should probably break the flow. So it's not all like, we're going to go according to, we're only going to see the good questions. We're going to ask a question that will break the model as well. After this, we're going to ask, okay, so this one, it's a good answer. We've told, okay, search your knowledge base for this information. Now we're going to ask, what's the latest, or tell me more about the Llama 3 models. So what do you think? How should the assistant respond to this? Shall it search the knowledge base or the internet? I think it should search the knowledge base because it already has the documents. That's what I would expect as a user. But I would be, I would understand if it searched the internet for it. Okay, it searched the knowledge base, and gave me a very good answer with key points. That's a very, very good answer from this. I wasn't expecting it. I was hoping it to break. Okay, now let's try something that says, summarize the latest news about Llama 3. Now let's see what happens. Now it just answered from its own knowledge. It did not run any function call. So that's it, folks. So this is AutoRag. We also saw where it's breaking. We also saw that this doesn't have streaming yet, but the answers are reasonably fast. So not that big a deal. But this lends itself, this opens up so many possibilities. As soon as streaming with Grok and function call, Grok supports streaming for function calling, this becomes a very viable contender for some exceptional applications that can be suited to AutoRag. If you have any questions, drop by in the Discord or open up a GitHub issue. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day.